What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today is Wednesday, which of course means it's time for another West New York Wednesday here on the channel. And the beer I'm reviewing today once again comes from the Wayland Brewing Company, and they're out of Orchard Park, New York, and this is their Bloom. So they're calling this one a Lil Hazy, which essentially means this is a Hazy Session IPA. It comes in at 4% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed. Time of review, this can is approximately 3.5 weeks old. So I'm trying to be a little bit more diverse this year when it comes to breweries featured on West New York Wednesday, and Wayland is one of those breweries I should feature more. I've only reviewed 2 beers from them. I reviewed them in the same review and I posted it, I think it was last November, and I've had a couple other beers from them off camera, including an Imperial Stout with toasted coconut at a beer fest that was absolutely fantastic. And I saw this one show up, and yeah, we're gonna give it a go. And the reason is on the back here, well, on the front it says, brewed in friendship with the Hop Guild. In the back it says, New York Hop Project, Wayland Brewing Edition. This is made with New York State grown Pilsner malt, oats, Excelsior hops, and Vista hops. So the cool thing about this is the Hop Guild, I think, is a guild like of New York State brewers that are trying to get the word out on New York State hops in general. And they also, I think, procure hops from other regions in the country and in the world. They have some partnerships and whatnot. And with this kind of, I guess, series or project, they're trying to, feature the hops they can get their hands on, and a lot of them are New York State hops. Excelsior, definitely a New York State hop or grown in New York State. I don't know about Vista. I've only had Vista a couple times, but the other breweries that are doing collabs with the Hop Guild recently anyway, Wayland, Beer Tree, which I have a Hazy Pale Ale, a part of the New York Hop Project in my fridge that I'll probably be reviewing, Hudson Valley Brewery, and Evil Twin Brewing New York City. Those are the 4 that I saw. I'm sure there's some more. But yeah, I think this is a cool concept, and here we are. So a 4% Hazy Session IPA. Sure. Now, I don't drink a lot of Session IPAs. I don't review them because typically just not my jam. I mean, I get the point of them, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know. A lot of times, they just don't do it for me as much as maybe even a Hazy Pale Ale would. So I thought I would give this one a go because why not? Why not? Anyway, that looks like my glass is hashtag Dirty Glass Mafia. A rarity on the Beer PaTroll. You don't see that a lot. So I haven't used this. I'm just gonna ignore that happen. I'm just gonna clean it up real quick. Just ignore it. I was trying to shake it up to see if I could get the hashtag Dirty Glass Mafia out of here, but guess what? I just spilled some beer because I'm a fucking idiot. That's why you watch this channel, because of moments like this that nobody understands, including myself. Anyway, that pours out kind of just like a light fruit juice. Like that looks like, shout out to Joe Senegali, a good friend of mine, fellow beer tuber. He says like someone, it's not as bright and vibrant because it is only 4%, but kind of like somebody poured milk into orange juice, but it has that very light, like super light yellow golden color. Very American turbid. Had a finger of a bright white, fluffy looking head that is now dissipated to a thin film. Hold it up to the light. You cannot see through it. Murky and turbid, like I said. It doesn't look great in the glass now that the head's gone, and I would try to swirl one up, but I poured all of it in, so you really can't. So you're left with the beer that looks like this. And a lot of times with like the double and triple dry hopping and the saturation of hops that these breweries use, a lot of times they don't produce a head. And this is one of those times. But anyway, let's get a nose. Now, I will say with Vista hops, I always get like a strong pear character. Excelsior hops, I think I've only had maybe once or twice. I don't really know too much, but Vista, I've reviewed beers with Vista hops and a pear, a strong pear. Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's definitely, Vista for me gives me orchard fruits and more to the pear side of things. But in addition to this, this has like a lot of stone fruits, like a heavy mango. There's a little bit of like an apricot or a nectarine, something like that. But I get pear. I definitely get pear. I get a little underlying citrus, fruits, your typical orange and grapefruit. Also has like a lychee kind of aroma. Kiwi. Like it's definitely different from the tropical fruit character standpoint. Like I don't say lychee and kiwi in a lot of beer reviews, and I'm getting it here. But that pear is there. A little bit of like this grainy, crackery kind of malt sensation, which, not uncommon in the nose and even in the taste for a 4% hazy beer of any kind. We call it a Session IPA or a Hazy Session IPA or a Pale Ale or whatever. But for 4%, it smells very vibrant. There's a lot of, the reason why I don't drink a lot of Session IPAs is because I'm always feel like pale ales have a little bit more of a well-rounded kind of overall vibe to them. And I don't drink a lot of 4% beers in general. Typically, I'm drinking, 6.5% IPAs or double IPAs, or I just go like straight to the non-alcoholic beer. But I can't lie, this smells actually pretty fucking good. So let's get into it. Cheers, everyone. Yeah, so there's a little bit of hop burn still. I wasn't getting the nose, but it's not big, and it's actually, I shouldn't even say hop burn. I should say this has a green astringency or a slight greenness to it. It's not big, but after that first sip, like it's kind of just like, you can tell they use quite a few hops in here, and it just had that like younger green kind of feeling to a lot of these IPAs that you drink, under a month old nowadays. And my wheelhouse for most hazy beers nowadays is like 4 to 6 weeks, because I feel like if there's any hop burn or green astringency, kind of dies down by them. I could see in a couple of weeks this, kind of being a little bit more mellow. Body is, thin. It's 4%, so this is like higher side of light body. It's a little bit watery. The mouthfeel, it has a nice crisp kind of feeling to it. It's like mild to moderately carbonated, more approaching moderate. But there's a nice smoothness here. There's not really a bunch of creaminess, but there is a little bit of smoothness to this beer as a whole. The taste, everything I said in the nose kind of carries over, but it's a little bit dialed back. It is 4%, so you have to keep that in mind. I get hit at the forefront with that grainy kind of crackery malt sensation. Again, dives underneath the palate, propping up all the hop characters. First thing hits me, citrus, nice mixture of like sweeter orange with like a white grapefruit. Little pithiness in there as well. Then after that, I get the stone fruits, more of like a nectarine, apricot, mango. And then I get a little dollop of that pear that I'm talking about, like midway through the palate, and a touch of that lychee and kiwi that was in the nose. Again, the nose was more vibrant, and I'm sure I'm not saying this is double dry hopped, although a lot of beers are double dry hopped now, they just don't say it on the can. But let's say this is double dry hopped or even triple dry hopped or whatever. I'm getting that kind of characteristic in this beer where the nose is better than the taste, because the aromatics typically when you're double dry hop, triple dry hopped are just fantastic, and it doesn't carry overall, a lot to the taste. That's kind of what's happening here. But I also have to keep in mind it's 4%, and it drinks extremely easy on the palate. Like on the back of palate, this finish is pretty dry, semi-full on dry, mild bitterness, not a ton of bitterness here, but it is very dry. And because it's 4%, it's not overly sweet to begin with. So I think this actually leans a little bit more dry than sweet, which is a rarity. But for a lower ABV beer, something you want to be crushable, I think that is very welcome, because you want to go back for more. It's just like I have been. Like I could tear this up with no problem. No questions asked. 4%, you can't taste it. I would say this: if your jam is Session IPAs, and specifically Hazy Session IPAs, you're in the Buffalo, New York area, seek this one out. I think you really can't go wrong with it. It's tough for a sub 5% beer to have like a big body, especially in these hazy. So, the fact that it's a bit thinner and somewhat watery was to be expected, at least for what I'm thinking it's going to be. The mouthfeel is nice. Those fruit characters are there, although not as vibrant on the palate, more so in the nose. It's super drinkable, and it has a good complexity for the ABV. So again, not something that I would personally go out of my way to try because of the style. But again, if you like the style, I can't see how you wouldn't, enjoy this one to some degree. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm going to give it 2 ratings. I do this occasionally if it's maybe a style that I don't gravitate towards. I would say for a session, we'll say Hazy Session IPA, I would give this like, I guess like a low 4.2. I'd go like 4.25. I'd go like 4.15, 4.2. I'm gonna knock it down a little bit for personal preference. I think it's nice. I think it's pretty good. It's just personal preference. I'm not going crazy about it. I just think it's well made, pretty good beer, and I enjoy it. So Wayland's Bloom, I'm gonna give that a low 4 out of 5. I'm gonna go 3.95. So I'm gonna knock it down like a quarter point or so, just with personal preference, just because again, I'm not gonna sit here and BS you and be like, oh, I love Session IPAs. I don't. I think they're all right. There's a time and place for every style and every beer, in my opinion. And I think this would be cool to, like, if you're having like a party or a barbecue, you're going to the beach and you want some hazy beer and you don't want to, get a crazy 8% or 8.5% double IPA and bring a whole 4-pack. You could bring a 6-pack of this, which I think they're sold in 6-packs, and you could really enjoy this. So I think it's nice. It's just not amazing. Price point availability. I pay $2.99 for that can. I tried to look up to see what 6-packs were on their website because I did not look to see what the 6-packs were at the store I bought it from. However, $2.99 can, if it comes to 6-packs, is that $18 6-pack? Well, most places you go to not going to. I'd imagine this is like in the $15, maybe $16 6-pack range. If it's in a 4-pack, you're probably, talking in the $11, $12 range. I think that's, a bit pricey for a Session IPA, but again, quality ingredients, all New York State, either procured or actually grown. I think that's a pretty cool thing. So for $2.99 can, I'm not really complaining. And availability, it's Wayland. They're in Western New York. You don't see a lot of places yet because they're a relatively new brewery. I think they've been open for, upcoming on a year. Might be upcoming on a year. Might be. I think it's upcoming on a year. I'm pretty sure. I think they opened early last year. Could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. But anyway, you'll probably see more from them going forward over the next couple of years. But the stuff I've had from them, they do really traditional styles. Like I had an ESB from them, or they call pub ale, so it was an English bitter. Really well done. I've had a hazy, I've had a American porter, and now I've had this and that imperial style with toasted coconut. And I think at the very least, all of their beers have been well brewed and pretty tasty. So I've been enjoying what I've had from Wayland. I'm definitely going to try some more this year and review them on the channel. So yeah, if you've had this one before, post in the comment section. Let me know what you think about it. Also, that hop burn, as I continue to drink on this, again, I shouldn't say hop burn, the greenness kind of died down and kind of went away completely. So I guess maybe the first sip was that initial shock of, oh man, this is a little green. As I continue to drink on it, it's not as green as it was with that first sip. So I don't think that's anything really to worry about. And I think in maybe a week or so, that should be completely gone in general. So anyway, I appreciate everybody stopping by for another Western New York Wednesday. Check back next week for another installment. Until then, cheers.